Good, whoops. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Isn't it great? Home, sweet home. Show me some love in the chat, everybody. Welcome to the Chakkalo Report, where I go over a couple of headlines before I head out to work, where nuance is not a bad word. And hey, let's be happy here in the middle, right? That's where too few of us are. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what happened, what I did, what I didn't do, but it turns out to be that my mobile stream, where, you know, I was traveling and I guess not so caught up with it, went the most viral that really any live stream has ever gone on this channel. That was wow. I think it's up to over 500 views at this point and over 100 comments. Thank you for the welcome home, Hamilton. Thank you. Volume is really low. Everybody, Tammy is telling me volume is really low. Anybody else? Any other issues? Right now, I think I'm reading good. I'm reading good. Corinne's streaming is a bit weird. Give me a second. Let me run a test here. I have no problem cutting into bloviating hour, but let's see. All right, I guess. Okay. No, we're good. Suan, it's choppy. You could just try refreshing the page. I think I'm. Well, actually, I'll check it out on my phone because I don't want to take up some bandwidth on my home network. Go to my channel. Let's see. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm testing it here. Oh. I could try one more thing to free up some bandwidth. Let's see. Let's see how this goes. All right. We're growing together, right, guys? We're growing together. Let's see if that did anything. Okay. Well then, back to what I was saying. I don't know what I did last time. So the last. Oh, we're back to max headroom. Sean, I hope that means that we're good. And listen, I have another minute of bloviating hour, all right? For those of you new to the channel, I I usually, you know, make it a little more personal and relatable and small talk for the first 5 minutes, and then I go on for another about 20 or 25. So that's usually how I do things. Anyways, yeah. So if you want to go ahead and see what the vitriol of YouTube could be, I mean, this was nothing. I've gotten so much worse on YouTube. Just go back to my Wednesday stream. Oh my goodness. The only question is, do I continue the conversation with those comments? And you let me know. I respond initially to every single one, but I don't know if I should continue that conversation going. I don't know if that's good for the algorithm. I don't know if it's good for civility and nuance, right? So let's just see how that goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to hear about YouTube trolls. There's too much of that going on. Anyway, of course, I wanted to get into the headlines of the day. Let's start out with, of course, Trump on the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire. I would absolutely love to know what is going on in the Israeli government's head when Trump is using words like, I am restricting Israel from doing X. Netanyahu has made his whole brand on Israel will act alone and Israel is a sovereign nation. They are. They are. But wow. The the way Trump is framing this rhetoric is just wild because it's totally antithetical to the position Netanyahu has been taking this entire time. Anyways, there can be no denial at this point, and I don't think there ever was, now that I'm thinking about it, that Hezbollah is a direct affiliate of Iran. I mean, at this point, growing up, we always knew that they were a proxy power, and Iran gave them marching orders, and they were always listening to Iran. But at this point, given how intermingled the war with Lebanon and Hezbollah is, and how intermingled the negotiations with Hezbollah is with Iran, there's just no dispute that the actions of that terrorist organization is directly attributable to Iran. Now, are you trying to tell me that some people are in favor of this Iranian regime still having that nuclear power? I'm not. And what I did watch yesterday on my flight home, I watched that 60-minute segment where they covered getting out, I think it was definitely over 1,000, but 1,300 pounds of highly enriched uranium from Kazakhstan to the United States over 6 weeks under the guise of a humanitarian mission. Something like that has to happen in Iran in order for us to leave successfully with, I don't know, any kind of dignity. That was truly a great report on that end. The idea of leaving highly enriched uranium by the Iranians is, I think, a complete failure of this whole operation. You didn't change the regime and you didn't get nuclear material. What are you going to get? But the rhetoric of us going for a JCPOA 2.0 negotiated by Trump, I honestly think that's already a compromise as far as Trump's rhetoric and what he was going for. So that was so Desert Sunset. How does one get rid of the ideas behind Hezbollah? By offering something better. But what? Better? Better is a Lebanese government that functions and represents their people. Better is a Lebanese government that makes peace with its neighbor, that can bring it prosperity, just like Jordan and Egypt. Are Jordan and Egypt great? No, but without their Israeli connections and their Israeli peace and Israeli partner that they've come to terms with, Jordan would not have enough drinking water. As it is, they already have limited supplies of electricity and water to give to their population. Without Israel, their population would be in bad shape. Egypt, the amount of security and intelligence that Israel gives them about the Muslim Brotherhood keeps what they would consider moderates in power. All you have to look at it is Islamism in Egypt. It's not a good history. So there was that. That's a great point, Tammy. Trump is trying to prove that Israel didn't lead him on the Iran issue. Fantastic point. Okay. Al Jazeera has a great piece out. How long can Iran survive the U.S. Hormuz blockade? Look at how they phrased it. How long can Iran survive the U.S. Hormuz of the blockade? So it's funny. Within the U.S. blockade, there's an Iranian blockade or Iranian, I don't know, headache. Not necessarily blockade because I don't know what's left of their navy. But the U.S., I think, can survive for a while, given that we're a net exporter of oil, or at least that's what the president says. It doesn't really explain why our gas prices are going up, besides for the fact that oil prices are indexed internationally. But the world's pressure is on the U.S. to open it up, because I mean, I've heard that Europe is just weeks away from running out of jet fuel. I mean, I was on a plane last night, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, if Europe runs out of jet fuel, that's crazy. As the plane, was chugging along. So let's All right, there's that going on. Another thing that's interesting, I was listening to a perspective, and it said Pakistan had a $3 billion line of credit from the UAE and pulled the line of credit. Then Saudi Arabia jumped in and filled that vacuum. The fact that the Saudis filled that vacuum, that means if Trump ends this and Iran still has that nuclear threat, that can rearrange the Gulf states to be much more cozy to, let's say, nations like Pakistan, maybe even India, so that perhaps they can adopt some sort of nuclear defense if Iran goes down that path. And if the United States is that unreliable partner, that can actually entrench all the Gulf states much deeper with the state of Israel, because they do have that shared interest, and they always know they can rely on Israel to attack the Iranian regime. All really interesting points. I watched it on Piers Morgan's show. That's where I watched that. Okay. Oh my goodness. Michael Smirkani is going to have a great field day with this headline. U.S. soldiers arrested for alleged insider betting on the Maduro capture. He clocked this a mile away. The betting markets seem to always get flack for being open to manipulation, insider trading for somebody who may have a insider information within the government and make money on it. Suanne Engel, I'm going to interrupt what I'm saying for this comment. There was a Wall Street Journal opinion piece where Dershowitz explains joining the Republicans. Yes, and he gave Piers Morgan a great interview as to what happened. As far as I mean, I can't believe he's a Republican. This is wild stuff. I'll address that later if it comes back up, but I want to finish this point on the Maduro capture. The U.S. soldier arrested for alleged insider betting on Maduro capture, who made allegedly $400,000 betting on the removal. What's interesting was Smirkanish and other news outlets were able to clock it immediately. They saw massive movements within the betting markets showing the movement of money or placing of bets right near where Polymarket or Kalshi, whatever this was, closed that question. So that was just, why couldn't they just narrow it down from there? I mean, it seems like an open and shut case as far as narrowing down who the trader was. Trader, Trader. And you have Polymarket tweeting about 12 to 18 hours ago. Listen to this tweet. Last month, we published our enhanced market integrity rules to combat insider trading. When we identified a user trading on classified government information, we referred the matter to the Department of Justice and cooperated with their investigation. Insider trading has no place on Polymarket. As far as the interviews and the actions and the legislation I've been hearing about so far, there was always laws on the books against insider trading in this regard, always. But I guess they just weren't enforced, or do they have to be defined further, or does the platform have to take action just like they did now? Could the Department of Justice have pursued this without Polymarket's aid? Perhaps Polymarket did it to increase confidence in their platform. Very possibly. And there's no question here. I mean, if I'll be consistent, if anything, the person who was arrested should be considered or presumed innocent until proven guilty. But there's no doubt that I think I could say us think he's guilty. The evidence is pretty damning from whatever we heard so far. So far. Jamal, I mean, so you guys know my fondness for Alan Dershowitz. He wrote the introduction to a book called 3 Felonies a Day. And I'm sure the elasticity of the criminal system, and I'm using those words on purpose, is so obvious to you guys. And if a prosecutor wants to get you, they can get you. The book goes like something like, if you get out of your house and walk around the blocks, what kind of 3 felonies can a intent prosecutor charge and throw at you? I'm sure there's an expansive definition of wire fraud and trade secrets or leaking government information or breach of public trust. I mean, there's a bunch of fancy words that I'm sure that they can throw at this guy to make sure he violated one of them. Goes to show what I have to say about the elasticity of the criminal system here in this country. That is funny. Sean Nichols, 3 felonies a day and call me tomorrow. Let's see. The U.S. considers suspending Spain from NATO. Reported an internal email suggests. That's Al Jazeera's report. I would love to hear Admiral Stavridis on this. I mean, of course, because that's funny that there's that connection between the Stavridis wing and Smerconish. But I mean, man, that guy's been busy. He's been busy on CNN. I've been seeing him all the time. I would like to look into why. I know Spain has been, crazy left, but I want to see why. First, what goes into suspending a nation from NATO? I want to see that. Second, what would the grounds for the suspension be, according to the Pentagon? Let me actually expand those headlines. Let me see if the headlines offer anything substantive for the stream. NATO says the U.S. cannot suspend Spain from the alliance after reported Pentagon email. That's what the BBC reports. Okay. All right. And the EU is stepping in here, approving a $106 billion loan package to help Ukraine after Hungary lifts its veto. I wonder how much the Orban loss factored into that, with Hungary holding out. M. White, going back to the alleged criminal who traded on the Maduro information. M. White says if he was in the military, he'll be tried under basically military law, not our normal criminal justice system. You're absolutely right. I did not consider that. I remember in high school, I don't know if it was in my U.S. history or my constitutional law class, the idea that there was an entirely separate justice system or entirely separate code of law applying to the military versus civilians was shocking to me. I couldn't believe that we weren't all ruled by one system of law, but I know that we technically are, but you're absolutely right, Ham. I did not delineate that. Thank you. There was the California gubernatorial election debate. That debate, my God, what a food fight. What a food fight. I only saw clips of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I forgot how crazy, not crazy, or I forgot how prominent those headlines of Katie Porter were. And my God, she doesn't look like she's fit to serve as in government after the explosions she had on her staffer, even though it was 4 years ago. And I would love to see what the truth is behind her throwing hot potatoes at her husband or something like that. Yeah, and then Swalwell is out, and he was the front runner. I would absolutely love to see if Republicans are actually at the top of the ticket in California. I love their system of just the top two have a runoff. It'll do much better for us as a country. I mean, going back to last stream of Virginia's horrible moves. But that was my comments on the California gubernatorial debate. Interestingly, I saw more headlines on DeSantis stopping or winding down the redistricting efforts in Florida. I guess the Republicans are taking an off ramp here, and this whole spat back and forth between Texas, California, Virginia, I guess gives Dems a net 1 gain, but Republicans are going to stop now just because it's an infinite, not regress, infinite tit for tat, maybe is the right word, of, hey, you're going to do it, so am I. You're going to do it, so am I. You're going to do it, so am I. So they saw it was pointless and, in fact, I think destructive even further to integrity in the republic form of government that we're under. Okay, I think I'm going to, well, actually, let me see if there's one more around here. So this is somewhat relevant, and let me dabble with this. Trump says the U.S. is weighing a purchase of Spirit Airlines. The U.S., I believe, the government put together a $500 billion rescue package for Spirit Airlines to keep them in business as a loan. Trump says he's considering buying Spirit Airlines at the right price. It might still be a bad deal, reports CNN. I get that government has a vested interest in keeping an airline afloat. By afloat, I mean, in business terms. But between Trump's deal with Intel and Trump's deal now with Spirit Airlines, I'm not getting what the point would be. Intel might be profit sharing. I mean, I don't have an issue with the government being involved as, let's say, an equity partner in a company. I don't think that's bad for capitalism at all. But is the government necessarily an equity partner because they have the power of legitimate force? It's a deeper philosophical question I have to think about. But if they're bailing out a company, I guess the company is also giving the government a core function of making sure they can serve its people. I don't know, guys. Chime in on that. Leave a comment below or leave a comment in the live chat right now. Let's see how that goes. Okay. I will engage with the comments and then we'll head out to work, everybody. Let's see what's going on here. Let's scroll all the way up. Alrighty, what were you guys saying in the beginning of this stream? Let's see, Jamal and Tammy are talking. I believe that's why things are slowly changing. The old rules were more appropriate for old times when more women were at home, although poor single moms were still working. I wish I knew what you were talking about there. All right, let's head on to the next. Oh, Nancy Lawrence talking about the poll question of the day. Should we be able to use SNAP benefits to buy a rotisserie chicken? I certainly think so. Nancy Lawrence, I know someone who bought rotisserie chicken for Thanksgiving dinner. Well, you should not be able to use SNAP benefits to buy chicken for Thanksgiving. Put it that way. Righty. Antique X-ray. Even though I'm retired, by definition, I was a professional observer looking at Trump on the tube. He is not a well man physically. Well, we elected him president, right? I think we elected him president. The White House has the best physicians in the world. Let's see what God has in store for the next 3 years. Jamal, my ex and I signed up for golf lessons in one of our vacations, but the vacation got canceled because of terrible weather. Never did get back to that idea. Listen, golfing was never. I don't I mean, it's such a, in my mind, it's such a rich man activity. So it's funny. One of my friends were talking about going golfing, and then their dad was right next to them and said, "You're not rich enough to golf." That was a funny line that I just can't get out of my head. Alrighty. Desert Sun said EU countries are considering a mutual defense pact as the US can't be counted on. The truth of the matter is, I think personally, the Europeans should be kicking in more resources than the US, as this is in their backyard. The US, yeah, we gave our word. We bound by treaty to the defense of NATO. But the European countries have more at stake than the United States does. And given that they weren't paying their fair share until Trump got into the scene, they should continue to do so and take that position. Harvey Skolnick, I hope this is not bad news. LGA crash, sorry. I hope there was not a crash at LaGuardia Airport. Alrighty. Sue-Ann, happy I'm home. Thank you. I'm happy too. I'm really happy I'm home. Okay. Antique X-Ray, thank you for bringing everybody else up to speed. Yes, this is Smirkanish's old desk. At some point, I'm gonna make some sort of intro video to the channel of this is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is why I did this. Let's see. Does the Sunset Trolls need to go back under their bridges? Yes, they do need to go back under their bridges. Or I can just engage them. And hey, if I engage them, it may give YouTube more juice to promote the channel. And maybe we'll have some more nuanced and independent minds here, right? Let's see what else. Nancy, you canceled your plans to Europe for the summer. Too much uncertainty. Regarding fuel, security, which, interesting cancellation reason. But if you book your tickets, I'd be secure in thinking that the airplanes are actually going to fly. Ham White, Straits open up again today. Is that a guess, or did I not read something that you did? Let's see here. Desert Sunset, yep. Lots of problems with jet fuel here. My son had his flight from Brazil canceled. It will be another few months if we're lucky he can get a flight. Wow. Few months. Harvey, before action was taken on the betting, Trump wanted to see which side he was betting on. Facetious. Okay. Scrolling down just a bit more. Desert Sunset. The NATO countries are using more money percentage-wise than the U.S. The U.S. also cut down after the end of the Cold War. But the U.S. did invoke Article 5. That's the first thing. Second thing is, the U.S. also cut down after the Cold War. Yes, but the U.S. is the superpower. That has to be baked into that formula somewhere, right? And let's see. Sue-Ann, you watch a clip of Katie Porter and you have to say you recognize her frustrations. Sue-Ann, are you talking about the clip of Katie Porter going nuts on her staffer, or the clip of Katie Porter at the debate? And yeah, she was frustrated that they brought up the 2021 clip. I mean, everybody has bad moments, right? And everybody's imperfect. We're human. That's by definition, we're imperfect. But there's something called temperament and freedom of choice. I'm by no means perfect, and I by no means have the best temperament, but I mean, the way she treated that staffer was just horrible. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. And yes, we should be understanding that people have bad times, bad stress, but I don't know. I mean, if I were a Californian, I wouldn't That'll cost her my vote easily. Ham White. Kiki ran her father's post-production audio recording studio. She says your mic is placed wrong, especially for your low resonant speech patterns, making your voice too soft to hear. All right, Ham, let me know where she thinks I should place it. I do have, we're running slightly over, but I do have a stand. See that? I could place it right here. That's how this came. So it could be sort of right here, and then, yeah, maybe I'll try that. Because you could tell Kiki right now, I have a digital mixer on, and right now I'm in the yellow zone. So there's that. Okay. Let's scroll to the bottom. Everybody, have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend. There is a premiere this Sunday on my channel. I will move it back to the 8 o'clock hour. You guys seem to like that a little more than the 9. So, everybody, make this the best day possible. There'll never be another day like it. Thanks.